Hey, so have you ever looked at a childhood dream and thought it had expired? But what if I told you that it didn't die? It's just waiting for you, the new version of you, so that it can see new light, or you can see new light. If that is you, I definitely encourage you to stay tuned because we're going to talk about that today. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It is your girl Tanisha. Your name is Inspiration. We are here with another amazing message. Yes, today we're going to be talking about how we can look at our old dreams and create a new path. So, I follow singer musician Lloyd, and back in like 20, I want to say like 2017, 2018, Lloyd came out with a song called True. If you have never heard of True, I encourage you to listen to that song, because it's an amazing song no matter what, but it's definitely a song that will resonate and hit your soul. So today I want to talk about, because he has a line in the song that says, had to find a new approach to an old dream. Had to find a new approach to an old dream. We're going to put that up on the screen because this is what we're going to talk about today. Finding a new approach to one of your old dreams. And this could be a dream that you had as a child, teenage, even early 20s or 30s. But no matter what, we need to talk about this. So I want to revisit this dream. That's the first thing that I want you to do. If you have not thought about that dream in a long time, if you have felt like this dream is not possible, it's never going to happen, I need to just stop thinking about it. No, if it's still pressed on your heart, that means that you're not supposed to stop thinking about it, right? You're not supposed to just abandon and abort mission. It's time for you to revisit that dream because it means that you have to find a new path to get to that dream. You have to look at new perspective to in order for you to look at that dream. And that is what I want so many of us to do. So one of the dreams, and this is not one that I've actually heard before, but one of the dreams that I've had was I've always dreamt about buying a house in Queens, New York. So if anyone who's not from New York City, we have five boroughs, which is like mini cities: Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, the Bronx, and Staten Island. I'm born, raised Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, do or die. Okay. Uh, Ended up moving to Flatbush. That's where I currently have a place. And when realized, I realized back when I was in sixth grade, we had moved to Queens, New York. And when I say to you, I always had a dream of moving to Queens because Queens is the suburbs of the five boroughs, right? We need a little bit of calmness. And that's where I found Queens was definitely great at that, for me at least. And so that was my dream. I wanted to buy a house and I wanted to live in Queens. I liked the peace and quiet, being able to just walk outside, not having like corner stores right there. We was in South Ozone Park and it was extremely residential. And so because I put that dream to the side, creating all of these narratives, creating narratives such as at the time, I didn't know how to drive. So I had no driver's license. And honestly, didn't think that I was going to get a license because we are told if you live in New York City, you're not supposed to have a license, or it doesn't make sense for you to have a license. But I'm here to tell you, depending on where you live, especially in Queens, yeah, having a license, having a car is definitely beneficial for you. So you have to realize that. And you got to make decisions that's going to be best for you. Okay. So you have to, again, unlearn these narratives. Good morning, Bola. Right. So Bola, today we're talking about find a new approach to an old dream. So I identified that, I couldn't drive. So that was one reason why I wouldn't go and live in Queens. Two, you're born in Brooklyn, you're supposed to stay in Brooklyn, right? You heard me talk about that. So we have these narratives that we are keeping and we're making them a reality. instead of going after the life that we really want. So when I did get the blessing of purchasing a co-op apartment, I decided to buy in East Flatbush instead of thinking about going to Queens, because Queens actually has a good number of co-op apartments, same way as Brooklyn, and they're in the more residential area. So it's quiet, it's not loud. It's exactly what I would want. Again, I've been chasing this little bit of peace since I was a little girl, but I forgot about that. All right, I forgot all about that. And so once I had to stop, it wasn't that I was not pursuing the dream. I was allowing, like I said, these narratives to stop me. These narratives was really causing me to not realize the things that I truly wanted. I was allowing all this fear and all of these, well, this is not what we do, Tanisha. We stay in Brooklyn. We're Brooklyn people. And I allowed that to be the determining factor to stop me in pursuit of that, even though I had an opportunity to make those changes. Right? I had the opportunity to say, I can buy somewhere that's going to give me the peace. And I didn't do that. And I was allowing those external fears, and then even the internal fears that I was bringing onto myself, because I didn't want to buy a house. And I kept thinking, well, if you move to Queens, although I knew I had the facts that Queens had a lot of co-op apartments that I could have purchased, I still created the narrative. Well, you can't, you're too young to buy a single family house or a duplex. Because I was like 21, 22 when I purchased. And I really had to stop listening to people like that and stop listening to myself and saying those narratives. So fast forward, here we are, 2023. Life is about to make a huge turn for me. And no, I'm lying. 2022. This really came up in 2022. So 2022, I started to moderate for MG, the mortgage guy. So he talks all about mortgages. He talks all about homes. And what I noticed, right? So again, you got to always be an observer. What I started to notice in the comments of his followers was that people wanted to be homeowners. People had dreams of being homeowners, but they were only limited to where they were from and where they currently live, right? They couldn't see a little bit further. It was very limited. And so they would abort the dream because it was like, well, I can't afford to buy a house. Look, if you're not in New York City, what you see on social media as far as like the real estate, the apartments, the houses, that's reality. Like people are paying over $2,500 for a one bedroom, 500 square feet apartment. I don't care how luxury it is. That's insane. Buying a house, okay, a single family house. When I was leaving 2023, there was a house on the market for over 7 months, and they went from 800,000. I don't even know the house ever sold and what it sold for, if it did, but it went down to like 680. 7 months. It's a long time for that to be on the market. And so I was just like, so I would be in the comments again. This is where Miss Inspiration is gonna, pop in. So why not look at other places, right? If the dream is to be a homeowner, why are you allowing the location to be the only reason why you would buy this house? And so because the market that we live in is so aggressive and is really out of anyone's range of a regular person who is, making $70,000, that might not be their reality, especially to buy one. I mean, even co-ops now. Look, a co-op when a co-op sold in my building last year, 2 bedroom, $500,000. Like I watched that post because I was curious. I was like, no one's gonna pay this money. Not for East Flatbush, not for a 2 bedroom apartment. And it sold for 499,999. They was just a dollar under $500,000. So when I would say that, people would start making comments. Why would I want to move anywhere else? Why would I want to move somewhere that doesn't have a deli on the corner? They created all of these narratives, and I was like, wow. So you have this dream, where you currently are, it might not be a reality, and you're willing to sacrifice that because you have created all of these narratives. I don't drive. I need a deli. I need a bodega on every corner. Um, I can't see myself living anywhere else. Like, I was just seeing all of these, and I'm talking about when he goes live, right? We're not at those numbers yet. And but guess what? YouTube, Facebook, we gonna get there again because I used to have up to 100 people in here sometimes. So share, like, and subscribe if you're brand new here. Hey, um, and so I said to, so I was just like, all right, guys. Again, I can't do anything besides plant a seed. I don't have to stand there and water it. So fast forward when I'm in this position. 2023, I'm ready to move. I'm at this crossroad. Do I buy a house or do I get an apartment? And the dream of Queens came back to life. That dream came back to life. It was like, you can have everything that you had in Queens. And I was thinking about this last night, like about 10:30 last night, and I thought about it. And I was like, you really did kind of manifest like the house that you live in. Because in Queens, we had one bathroom in the house. There was a lot of us in there, so that was a mess. But my house has one bathroom. If you haven't seen the House Hunters, I probably just gave it away. But that was something, having the peace. And I think that's also why I gravitated to the area that I live in now in Tulsa, because it's very residential, it's extremely quiet. Ironically, it is near the airport. And when we were living in South Ozone Park, we lived right by JFK. So we would hear the planes, and it's very similar. But I feel such a peace. So it's like, you can find what you're dreaming about if you take a step back and say, okay, where I'm currently at, this might not be a reality. This might not be doable. But it doesn't mean that it's not doable. It means that it's time for you to take a step back and now look at, how can I still get to this same dream? See, I had given up on the dream in New York because by that time, yes, I'm almost 40 at that time. I want to buy maybe let me take a little dibble dabble of buying a house. And now I'm looking at the market and I'm like, oh, my money won't go far here. Not now. Even if I would have had the blessing like I had back when I was 21, 22, buying my co-op, I still would not have enough. Like, you need a very hefty down payment and to order for you to purchase in New York City, and depending on what kind of property you're buying. So I really had to sit back and I'm like, okay, maybe this is possible, just not here. And it was possible. My house was definitely so affordable. I had to put down what I think 5%, because this was my second home. And it was it was so affordable, and the dream became a reality. The dream could not become a reality in Brooklyn. It definitely can't become a reality in Brooklyn, but it wasn't going to become a reality in Queens, not as a single person where I would feel comfortable. See, that's the other thing. Your bank can tell you, the mortgages can tell you what you can afford, but baby, I'm gonna need you to be realistic about that, right? I'm one of those people. I want to reduce my bills. When I moved here, compared to what the bills are in New York, as far as like the mortgage, the maintenance, and the taxes and stuff, I'm still paying less money in Oklahoma for more space, outside, yard, whole 9 yards. Yes, maintenance and upkeep totally different, but I'm still paying less. But I'm still getting exactly what I dreamt about because I wasn't attaching the dream to a location. I removed that dream from a location. I removed it from saying it can only be done here. And I allow God to say, all right, God, this dream is still, you keep pressing this dream in my heart. You keep showing me in the house. You keep showing me in the backyard where I can sit and I can sunbathe. You keep showing me this, but you're not showing me a location. And that is what I want so many people to realize. It's not about the location. It's about the dream. And if you got that dream, hold on to that dream and ask God to give you a new direction, a new strategy, a new path, because that dream needs to still happen. It's still going to happen. You just got to let go of whatever it is that you're holding on to. And if you're holding on to a location, if you're holding on, say, this dream can't come true until it's in this location, then you're limiting what God can do. And I don't limit him. I don't limit him at all. Good morning, Paula. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Right? So That is something that I want us to think about. Is there a dream that you have already accepted? This dream is never going to happen. I'm just going to expire you. I'm going to put it to the side. It's okay. If there's a dream that you have and you think that that dream can never happen, I promise you, if you start praying and you start meditating, start fasting around that, and you take away the restrictions, right? And restrictions meaning money, how much it's going to cost. It's going to be removing the location. You are going to be able to see God move, because that means that you're fully surrendering it, right? God gives. So the one thing, and y'all kind of keep hearing me talk about this book, because Inspirational Trailblazers, we're gonna go through this book. And the dream giver, God gives us the dream, right? We have to give it back to him, right? That's what prayer is, right? We have to give it back to him. He gave us the dream because we got to get comfortable in that dream. We got to let that dream kind of bask in our minds, because a lot of times, most people, for majority of the people, they get stuck here, right? Money, location, this, that, the way that I look, all the other stuff. God is like, just surrender it back to me. Bola just said it, surrender the dream back to God. This is where the conversation is going to come in. Because when you surrender, you're letting God know, I trust and I believe that it's going to come true. I'm willing to do my part. That's all that it is. This is where the conversation. Remember, we said, even though this is not in my notes, but didn't we say on Wednesday, we're going to talk about this, the conversation of prayer. Prayer is a conversation between you and God. You go to God, you start the conversation. Something happens. So you might have had a dream you need clarity on. Something might be going on in the reality. God, what does this mean? Is it spiritual warfare? Right? You're asking God for all of this information, and God is going to start giving it to you. Cool. As long as you don't get up from that conversation and you listen, now God is going to tell you. You have this dream about owning a house? Absolutely. I'm going to come in agreement. This dream is going to come true. I did not give God that dream. We did not have a conversation until 2023. And I had that dream for many of years. You got to give it back to him. You got to let him know that you are in agreement and that you're willing to go forth and do it exactly the way he's telling you to do it. You guys are going to start noticing I'm shifting from with the life that you want. Because the life that you want is not the life that God wants for you. I want us to get to the path that God is saying, this is the life that I want for you. You are fully in agreement with it, and you go after that life. Right? So there is a transformation that's happening, right? If you go back to the dreams that you've had, especially around maybe like your late teens, 20s, we tend to create, this is what I want to be. I wanted to be a publicist, working at in the music industry. I wanted to work with all of the big artists. That was the dream that I had at 15, 16. That dream might have lasted until about 19. By the time I'm finishing college at 20, I don't want to do that because I already had a sample of it. Remember, I've been working in the music industry since I was 15. So I'm around all of these people, and I'm quickly realizing I don't have the energy for them, right? I knew nothing about energy, but I knew I didn't have the energy for this. I didn't want to deal with the egos. I've never liked a person with ego. I don't care how big your ego is. I don't care how big your bank account is. If you're rude, disrespectful, you are not going to have problems. And that was my journey and experiences. So the dream started to change. But in 2012, that's when I allowed God to come into my life. And now I started, I want to say about 2012 to 2014, that's where I'm building a new version of what I want my life to be. This is what I want. And it was a healthier version, right? It wasn't nothing bad, nothing crazy. Who wouldn't want to be a president of a college? Who wouldn't want to be a dean of a college, right? Tanisha, that sounds so realistic. It's definitely in alignment with your skills, your qualities. You are a born leader, all of these different things. And then 2015, God started to shift me from my dreams and my goals to his dreams and his goals. This is the only reason why you see me here. This is why you see me every day at 7 a.m. Monday to Friday. This is God. This is not Tanisha. I promise y'all, when God put this back on my heart to go back live from that first 21 days when we started, I don't remember when we started the 21 days, because now it just feels so organic. It just feels so natural. Like I get excited to get up. I'm like, all right, you know, I'm not dragging. I won't lie. Those first 14 days, those were some rough days, y'all. I was up there like, oh, I don't want to get up. I don't want to stay in my bed. It's time for me to log into my computer, right? I was struggling, and now I get up a lot easier, right? It's easier, and there's other things that happen as well. So the last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to finding this new approach to your old dream, I want you to realize that this is where faith is going to meet your strategies or God's strategies. Again, when we take away the I don't know how this is going to happen, that's a great place to be. God, I don't know how this is going to happen. I'm just going to have faith that you can do this. When I knew I was moving to Tulsa, the first thing I did do was apply for a mortgage, because I've been owning since I was a young person, like 22. I mean, I'm still young and vibrant, don't get me wrong. But since I was like 22, so I was like, I don't really want to pay rent. And I definitely didn't want to live like in an apartment building anymore, because we got to deal with that enough in Brooklyn. And so I got denied for the first mortgage. And the one thing that Matt said quite often that hit me as I was flying from Tulsa. So when I was leaving, I heard Matt say, if one mortgage broker says no, another one will say yes. I remember hearing him say that so clearly as I was on that plane and we were taking off, and God told me, you're buying a house. And again, that is where I did not. Student loans, my balance on my student loans is ridiculous. Okay. For those of you that may not know, if your balance, so like right now I'm still in zero, like I have no balance. I don't make any payments right now. My account is held up. We're trying to sort some things out. So zero balance. When you go buy a house and if your student loans is at a zero balance, $0, they're gonna take 1% of the full balance of your student loans, and that's going to be considered your student loan payment. So in this case, having a $0 balance actually is a bad thing when it comes to purchasing a house. I bet you many people didn't know that. Shout out to MG the mortgage guy, because I didn't know that prior to joining his academy, anything. So I had to put that in my mind. Like, I'm going to get reprimanded. I'm not going to get the amount that I really want, because my student loan balance is going to reflect a higher amount. And it sure did. Okay. But it still didn't mean that it wasn't going to be possible. I just wasn't going to get the house, the extra big house. But guess what? I didn't want an extra big house. I want a small house. And, people laugh. One of my friends who came to visit me, I was like, oh, I should put a tiny house in the backyard. He was like, your house is tiny. Don't do that. Don't do that. He petty though. But I had to just release all of that, right? I had to release all of that. I had to release all of the fears, all of the narratives, and I had to just surrender, and I had to have faith. God, only you going to make this happen. And that's the beautiful part, because when I purchased my co-op, that person who gave me the money for the down payment, my godmother, she took a lot of credit, right? If she could find somebody to tell about what she did for me, she told them. And that means that she's taking credit. Me being in this house, me being in Tulsa as a homeowner, that's God. I had to release that. I had to understand his strategy is going to be his strategy, even down to the day that we had to close. There was some paperwork that was in limbo with my the shareholders board. There was something that they didn't update from the past. I'm dealing with all of that. And the title company told me 99% of the time, if we give you a closing date, you are not going to close on that date. Did y'all hear what I said? 99% of the time, when we give you a closing date, most people do not close on that date. That date gets pushed forward or backwards, but it's hardly ever that date. And because they said that, I didn't book my flight because I wanted to be there. right? Bola, I think if you're still here, you and I years ago, I told Bola, like, oh yeah, you don't have to be like physically at the closing table with the person, So I knew I didn't have to be at the closing table. I knew we could do it virtually, and they definitely have improved everything because of COVID. But I didn't have to be there. But I was like, no, you're going. You're going to be there. And I was like, no, they said that it might not be that date. Let me not get my plane ticket because then I'll have to be penalized and all this stuff. And I was just like, and God kept telling me, get the plane ticket. It was like $300 at that time. He was like, get the plane ticket. And I just could not do it. I was just like, no, God, I can't afford it. I don't want to put money out that I can't afford. I didn't want to get a hotel room. God was like, get the ticket. And I did not listen. I did not have the faith. I didn't. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Yeah, the day before, they was like, yeah, we're more than likely gonna close on that date. So I bought the ticket, got cleared to close as I was at the gate to get on the plane. So I already took. So this is where the faith had to be heightened, because I was like, Lord, I'm already at the airport. I'm at LaGuardia. I'm going. I'm closing tomorrow. I just need you to get this stamp of approval. Like, if you don't get that call or that email that you're clear to close, you're not closing. And they cleared the close at 5 o'clock Central Time. And I was getting ready to get on the plane to come to Tulsa. And that's what I'm talking about. We have the faith, right? Because we don't know how this is going to work out. And even when the title, the notary, she was like, oh, wow, like you actually did close on your closing date. She was like, that's usually, that's unusual. Like usually it changes. And I was like, because I asked God, if this is going to be it, I need this to be it. And it was it. So that same dream that I had from a little girl is now a reality. With everything that I wanted the peace, I wanted the quiet. Maybe I need that little noise for the airplanes. And thankfully, Tulsa is not like a busy, booming. So it's not like we have planes leaving out. Like if it was like LaGuardia or JFK, you have planes moving and going, or Atlanta. Atlanta, I can only imagine living by the airport in Atlanta. Like, y'all probably got planes going all day, all night. Tulsa, I think probably about 11, you don't hear anything at all. But I don't really hear the airplanes. I hear the Air Force more. We're near one of the bases for the Air Force. So like probably about 9 o'clock, they'll start, practicing and doing whatever they're doing, making a whole lot of noise. Yeah, so this is what they do. They make a lot of noise. But yeah, I just wanted to, to share this because I think when we have these dreams and it doesn't work out, we get discouraged. We want to give up. We want to walk away. And I'm here to tell you, you can't, right? Surrender it all. If God gave you the dream, give it back to him. And then wait for the instructions. Wait for him to break down to you what to do. Take away your limitations, right? Don't attach yourself to no location. Don't attach yourself to any budget. Don't attach yourself to anything, right? Use the resources that are out there. Find the people that can support you so that you know what you're supposed to be doing, but do not abort mission. And it might not happen the day that you think it's going to happen, but it also could happen exactly the day that they say. Because if you allow God to be a part of this, he can make anything, right? They planted that fear in me. Oh, we don't normally close on these days. They usually change 9 times out of 10. And I was having struggles and I think that's why I was like leaning more, this might not happen on that day, because I was facing issues, right? What did Paula say? If it's for me, it's for me. Absolutely, right? It's going to take a lot of faith. But it's when you have that kind of faith, like when faith to me is being delusional. If y'all ever go on YouTube, go on TikTok, type in delusional. Listen to those stories that people are sharing of what other people have told them. Girl, you crazy. Like, what? You have that kind of faith? Yes. Yes. Yeah. I have that kind of faith. People do not like to believe that God can do anything. He can move mountains for us. It's us. We're the ones that saying, God said this is the dream, but once you put the but, that means that you already activated doubt. You already activated fear. You're worried. You're not patient. You already activated something that's going fully against having faith, right? And so that was something that I had to learn. No, this is definitely possible. Yes, you have these limitations. Yup, student loans is going to cause you to have a higher debt to income ratio, but it doesn't mean that I can't get approved for a mortgage at all. I just can't get the fancy house that I really want because this is what I can afford. I can afford more. I technically can, but you know how the math of the mortgage companies, but to them. But I found something that I liked that I can grow in. And then, like I said, this is not my forever home. And I'm okay with that because one, I still believe that I'm going to get married. I still believe that I'm going to get married. So I already know if God keeps showing me and God keeps telling me that I'm a wife, 9 times out of 10, my husband and I might not live here. We're going to be moving to someplace different. So it's either going to become a rental property or it's going to go up for sale and I'll get my coins, and then we can either put that towards the new house or repay down some debt. No matter what, it's not the tell or be all. It's a part of the journey. So I just wanted to share this. Like I said, if you haven't heard the song, it's called Lloyd. It's by Lloyd, called True. And it's just like I said, that's where I got that find an old here is the lyric. Sorry. Had to find a new approach to an old dream. That is by Lloyd, and it is called True. So that is a song that I encourage, right? So it's not nothing crazy, it's nothing, racy, but he's just talking about his truth. And that line, because if you don't know his story, Lloyd was dropped by Murder Inc. and had to go through a lot with Irv Gotti, God rest his soul, and he had to take some turns, but he's back. And yeah, people are like, oh, he doesn't have any new music. Baby, I'll take the 90s, the early 2000s people. I'll take them any day. And when I did see Lloyd in concert, all I'm going to say is the mic was on, okay? But I am your girl, Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. We are here every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Central Time. If you are looking to connect with me, you can go to my link tree and you can connect with me about my books, my community, Inspirational Trailblazers. Currently, if you join Inspirational Trailblazers, you would get the first 7 days for free. And after that, it is $20 a month. But I'm guarantee you, it's going to be, we're about to go a deep dive into several things in Inspirational Trailblazers. But I also have access to my courses and to my blogs. And I'm just extremely excited to do these great things with you all. So if you know someone, share this message with them. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. And I thank you for being here with me. And we'll be back on Monday. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Bola, for being here with me this morning. And I hope this message has helped you in some capacity. And share it with somebody that you might realize or you think might be going through this same type of situation in their life. So I love you guys. You know God loves you. And have a great day on purpose with purpose. I'm Tanisha Shanae.